pitching in the Yankees, for the Yankees. And he was brought up several times and got to pitch, but one Saturday, it was one of the games of the week, and he was facing Ken Griffey Jr. So I'm like, oh, this should be fun. First pitch, it was gone. So it was kind of like, I kind of was like, well, Jay, you tried, you know. But it's always kind of neat. Any of you guys favorite teams? Anyone you're looking at as far as baseball this year? I don't know if you follow it much or if you do.
I only watch the playoffs when it comes time
So
to
you wait till
playoffs.
that.
Yeah.
I just like watch the World Series. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting because usually you just never know with guys, and especially playing baseball sometimes.
Yeah,
But that's
I think
cool.
The World Baseball Classic is turning my favorite thing to watch. Just so exciting. Every game matters. And a lot of excitement in a short dose. To pay attention to a baseball season for 162 games can maybe sometimes get a little dry.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
All right. Some Steeler news. I know Jake's back there smiling, but biggest and least shocking news of the week was the extension of Mike Tomlin, 3 years. He had 1 year left on his contract. Of course, the Rooneys, they like to get things taken care of a little early. They don't like to negotiate, of course, once the season starts. So they took care of that and any issue with that contract before the season started. So that was big news there. As far as football goes, you guys follow that a whole lot? Favorite team, stuff like that?
Not a huge NFL guy. I used to be, but haven't been into it the past couple of years. As my kids have gotten older and busy, I don't have Sunday afternoons free to watch it anymore.
Yeah.
So I've kind of gotten out of it. But
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, but still, you see in the area, I know folks are just, they're still beating the drum for the Steelers. Do you guys do that, or you guys different teams?
We're big into fantasy football.
Oh,
That's about it.
okay. Yeah. So you're not rooting for teams, you're rooting for players to succeed, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
How do you do? Are you guys good at it, or you?
I mean, it's kind of luck of the draw, but some years you're good, some years you're bad.
Yeah.
I definitely hear the trash talk in the hallways and the weight room in the fall, and just from the outside, kind of eavesdropping in the weight room in the hallway, listening to kids talk about it. It definitely seems like they enjoy each other.
Yeah. And it's something too. It's fun. It's something you can compete with, and of course, you guys are competing all the time when it comes to sports. So.
I actually had a former player, Peyton Rare, play baseball. We're pretty much a Disney Plus family. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, but that makes sense.
Yeah.
Golf. You guys into golf at all? Do you like?
Playing it, watching it boring, and watching it makes me not feel too good about playing at Pinehurst. I don't know if you saw how fast those greens are, but I'm glad I did not play there.
Yeah, it's underway. The U.S. Open's underway. It's kind of interesting in this one, and I found this kind of neat. Colin Prater is a high school biology teacher, and he's the golf coach at Cheyenne Mountain High School in Colorado Springs out in Colorado. He got a spot on the U.S. Open. He was a qualifier. He finished second, I believe, in a 36-hole qualifier, one of 73 qualifiers to come out of like 9,500 people. So he's 29 years old and considered one of the top amateur players in Colorado, but he's never been to a U.S. Open and, of course, never played in one. So it'd be kind of interesting to see how he does. So we have a teacher in the U.S. Open. All right, so those are some of the things going on in sports today, some of the more current things, and got a few interesting comments from our crew over here. While we have a chance, let's welcome in our group from Redbank Valley. And this is the team this year, District 9 championship, 1-1 last year as well. This is a group that took a couple games into the state playoffs this year. But when we were talking sitting at the table, I think one of the more impressive things was just with these three fellas right here between Breckin, Owen, and Mason, 14 district titles in sports. And that's just amazing when you think about, when you look at sports and how difficult it is to win those titles and things like that, to have that amount. So that's certainly, first of all, a big feather in the cap of these guys, I think. We look at some of the stats from this year too. In baseball, you beat Montauk for the District 9 championship, and that was a nip and tuck ball game too, where Montauk hung right in there with you a little bit on that as far as winning that district championship against Montauk.
Definitely a lot of sweaty palms, and I don't know if maybe other people don't remember this probably as well as we do since we got to be there. There was a 45 to an hour minute rain delay at the beginning of that game where we threw 2 pitches and went into a rain delay. We just had to sit the dugout for a while. So it was definitely an interesting game. It felt like it took forever just with the rain delay and then the fact that it went 9 innings. But luckily, since we were at the field for 3+ hours that day, it was nice to come out on top, because that would have been a long bus ride home if we were to lose that one after such a long game that it took.
And then you go on, you get into the state playoffs, and your first game against Burgettstown, 5-4 win, another nip and tuck ball game. It went right to the very, very end. That had to feel good to getting that playoff win there at the state level, then that very next ball game out.
Yeah, especially with Burgettstown. They ended our season the previous 2 years. In 2022, they beat us in the same spot in states where we were in the final 8 teams. I believe they beat us 4-2 that year, but we had the tying run on second. We had a guy on second and a guy on third with 1 out, a couple of strikeouts into the game. Granted, they had a great pitcher that year. And last year they beat us a little more handily, 6-1 in the first round of playoffs. So it was nice to kind of come over and get over that hump this year with beating Burgettstown for the first time in the program.
Okay, and you guys felt good in that ball game, confident toward the end, and anything you want to add to what Coach had to say?
Felt good to get our get back against them.
What's that now?
Felt good to get our get back.
The get back, yep. I agree with you on that one. And then, of course, you had the loss to North Star in the second game, ending the season. But what was that like, though, talking to these guys, and even during that game, and keeping them going, and after that game, having a nice run that you had?
Maybe this sounds a little bit greedy, but it almost became expected after everything else that this group of kids have done in the past few years. Not that you ever take winning districts for granted or winning a game in the states for granted, but it got to the point where anytime you were in those tight ball games and all the sports that they played, this group of kids just found and knew how to win.
All right. Well, we talked a little bit about that run. We're going to come back. We're going to talk more about some of these ball games, a little bit more about the team and these fellas as well. So we're going to take a time out. We're going to be back with more for you. This is the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show, live from the Haskell House here in downtown Clarion.
This is a great show.
Hey, check out this all-new 2024 Chevrolet Trax 1RS in cacti green. Let's talk about some of those safety features. We have blind spot monitoring system, we have forward collision system with alert and brake, and we have lane departure warning as well. How about the gas mileage?
30 miles per gallon average. Yeah, it's great. Bumper-to-bumper warranty and the 5-year 60,000 mile powertrain warranty.
And check out the clarity on this backup camera on this 11-inch touchscreen. Can you believe you get all the features like heated steering wheel, heated seats, remote start, power sunroof, all for $24,900?
It's a great value in the new Chevrolet. Hey, check out this Glacier Blue RST Silverado 4x4 Z71 4-wheel drive. 5.3 liter V8. It's a really nice sharp truck. All LT and RST Silverados have this same interior. Got this really large touchscreen display, built-in Google Maps, heated seats, automatic climate control, heated steering wheel. We have a backup camera, really great display, and all the safety aspects. Adaptive parking, adaptive braking, pedestrian braking, blind spot mitigation.
Follow us to Redbank Chevrolet.
Welcome to 12 Series, a veteran-owned and operated company. Want to stand out amongst the crowd? This is the brand for you. They have apparel that ranges from cardio tanks and hoodies to sweat noggin covers. The apparel isn't just designed for the gym, it's designed for everyday life. Whether at work, the range, or at a family outing, 12 Series will turn heads. Find and like 12 Series on Facebook and Instagram.
Clarion Forest VNA believes the emotional and physical well-being of a patient is enhanced by the patient receiving care in the familiar surroundings of home. Their staff of caring professionals work closely with physicians to administer quality care to meet the needs of each individual. As a pioneer in home health care in Clarion and Forest County, Clarion Forest VNA continue to grow to meet the community's need for in-home care, offering many different services and programs to meet the patient's need. Clarion Forest VNA, located at 271 Perkins Road in Clarion. Call us toll-free at 1-800-262-2118.
And welcome back to the Main Street Sports Show brought to you by Redbank Chevrolet. We're at the Haskell House in downtown Clarion. Tonight we're here with a great group of guys from the Redbank Valley baseball team. We have Coach Craig Hibell, Breckin Minich, Owen Clouse, and Mason Clouse with us here this evening. And we've already started talking about the season and how it kind of you got through the district playoffs into the state playoffs, and those expectations certainly there. And you guys too, as far as like some of your averages, I found some interesting stats. Batting average, though, you guys were pretty close. Now, if I'm wrong, these were all on max preps. I had Minich at 379, I had Mason at 375, and Owen at 364. Pretty close. So you were the leader there. Pitching wise, Owen, you had a 2.21 ERA, 41 strikeouts over 25 innings. I think that was pretty impressive. Mason, you were 2.25 ERA, 16 strikeouts over 9.1 innings pitched. Team ERA overall, too, I thought was impressive at 241. You had 154 strikeouts as a team. Only gave up 5 home runs. I thought that was interesting. Of course, Jackson Huffman and Ty Carrier were your pitching leaders with ERA, innings pitched, and things like that. But pitching really seemed to be relatively strong for you this year, and I think that was probably a thing that really helped you a lot.
Yeah, it was some of the weather we had early in the year, getting kind of backlogged into some games later on. We knew that could be an advantage for us. Having said that, we actually did lose 4 of our last 5 games of the regular season. So I guess what I said maybe doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But we also knew whenever you get to the playoffs that we had potential to kind of go farther, just because we had a pitching staff that a lot of other schools would have liked to have had.
Yeah, you mentioned that too about the weather and things like that. It seems like in this area, discussions years ago, they had talked about moving baseball to maybe the fall, but the problem, of course, is with football and stuff, because in the springs here, the weather, it seems like you don't often get good weather until maybe end of April, beginning of May, and then you're behind the 8 ball, and you're limited as far as pitchers go. You can only pitch so many innings and things like that. So that's always seems to be a big issue when it comes to that.
Yeah, I'm sure these guys can tell you that we get sick of practicing in the gym pretty quick. But at times it's completely out of our control and there's not much we can do about it. When you get into the gym for 3, 4, 5 days in a row after you've been outside a couple of times, it's tough to come back in. So we get to the point sometimes we just take a day off and go home, just because it's better than to come back in and give ourselves cabin fever in the gym for another day. Yeah,
and that certainly makes sense. And that strong pitching, of course, got you, and these guys with their hitting as well. Those are good averages, and I think to help you get to where you guys were. When you look at this team, you've coached for 11 seasons now at Redbank Valley as far as baseball. How does this team compare to the ones that you've seen over the last few years, other district championship teams and things like that? How does this team compare? How does this team stack up?
Comparing them to our previous teams. You know, it kind of put me on a spot. I didn't really think about that until now, because I kind of always looked at every team is different, even if it's the same kids, they're all a year older. You know, there's been years where we maybe had some defensive spots that were a little stronger in other years compared to some spots this year, but I would say the biggest thing we had out of this year's team was just an absolute team-first attitude that, not that we didn't have it in other years, but these guys just took it to a whole nother level. The pitching depth was there this year. Our lineup may have been a little deeper down at the bottom of the order in a couple previous years, but you know, a lot of our guys just had that team-first attitude that allowed us to have team success. We didn't really kill it on all conference awards this year, but we got the award that every other team in AA would have liked to have had. So I'll take that every day.
Exactly. Now, have you guys all played baseball since your freshman year in high school? You've all been part of the team, so you've seen these guys for years, and they've been a part of the other championships and in previous years that you've had. You've had a really successful program, and I think that's easy to see. Over the last several years, what do you contribute the success that you've had at Redbank Valley with these teams?
It's hard to say that it's not just the kids, because if you look at all the other sports, they've been winning at everything else too. So it's clearly not something we're doing different in baseball. It's clearly something that the kids are doing something. You know, I can tell you that I go into the school weight room every morning before school. We open it at 6 a.m. These three guys were there all the time, and a number of other kids that are in the school too. So I think the weight room really was a huge contributor to the success we had, and that's part of the reason why it was the other teams were as successful as they were too. We've kind of created not we've created, but the kids have really set a standard for a higher standard of culture. And the team first work ethic attitude that they've had has really paid off dividends in multiple sports.
Yeah. So. Would you guys agree with that as far as what makes this team successful? Would you agree with that sentiment the coach has?
I think another thing is, like, all these kids play sports year round, so we're always active and like getting better. So that's another thing.
Okay.
We just put each other first. Doesn't matter. Individuals don't come before the team. So if everyone has that mindset, then they're just going to keep winning.
Okay.
Also, we're all just so close since we all played all the sports, so we just have that connection.
I was going to say you have to be, because you guys are you see each other probably more than your parents see you know, or families as the year goes on.
One of the things I thought that interesting, and kind of backs up what we said about the team first attitude, was I think basketball this year, I had no involvement with basketball besides just a fan. At one point they had the top 25 leading scorers in the district, and none of these guys were on that list. So it just tells you, like, their willingness to share the ball, not really care about who's scoring. There was games where you looked in the championship game this year, Mason scored 20 some points. Next game, I don't know if he scored 10. You know what I mean? It was just, they were willing to do whatever it took to win that day. And it was that team first attitude. I know I've said it a couple of times first now, but they were as good as anybody when it came to being a team first group of kids.
Yeah, and I think we get that sentiment anytime we get teams in here that have won championships. They talk about how, and you talked about that, building each other up and keeping each other ready, focused, and, you know, the support, the system that you have, and I think that that's incredibly important. So when you mention that, what do you say to, I guess, when the season ends the way you don't want it to, how do you respond? How do you talk to these guys after that? You know, when that game's over and that's that final game, because you guys have experienced that in other sports too, whether it's football, the state championship game. You know, I remember being down there and broadcasting that game and coming up short in that one. No different than a state playoff game at any time. But how do you respond to these guys after that season's over?
I probably struggle with it more than they do, just because I always look back at the end of seasons whenever I played as a kid about how I always said, like, I'm never going to get that opportunity again, and that's kind of how I feel for them. So I actually probably struggle with it more than the kids do, and they can attest to that from seeing some of my reactions over previous years whenever our season was over. But you know, when we were walking together this year after we lost to North Star in the playoffs, I started naming all the teams that they ended seasons for over the past couple of years, and there was a lot of teams that we got to name. So you know, I said, well, obviously North Star was sending us home this year, but I started naming teams from Kerwinsville, CL, Montauk, Karn City, Kane, Johnsonburg, teams that they've ended seasons of for other teams, just was unfortunate we were on the other end of it this time. So.
And this is something for Breckin for next year, so you can build on that. These two are leaving their seniors, and you can look at him and say, that's what it felt like last year. Let's go a little bit further next year. Right?
Yeah, and it's obviously going to be tough to keep living up to the standard that's been set. So it's going to take an extra effort. You know, we're probably not going to have some of the athletes that this year's senior class is graduating. So it's going to take a different style to win if they want to continue to live it up to the standard that everybody else has set around here.
Is it hard to, I was thinking about this just as you were talking about that too, you know, living up to those standards and getting the guys. Is it harder to school your size to field teams like baseball, especially when you have so many other sports going on, like with track and field and all that other stuff?
I think the unfortunate thing is just finding time and games for the JV kids. We started the year with 19, ended with 18 this year, so we never were anywhere close to only having 9 for a game or anything, but it was hard to kind of build a program for the future whenever you don't have a whole lot of kids, and neither do the other schools in the area, to continue playing JV games. And then with the weather this year that backlogged us to playing more games late, we just didn't have the opportunity to schedule very much JV this year like we did in previous years.
Okay. Well, we're going to take another time out. We've been talking to Redbank Valley Baseball tonight here on the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show. So we'll take a break. We're going to come back with more for you. It's the Main Street Sports Show brought to you by Redbank Chevrolet, live from the Haskell House here in Clarion.
Dubrook, a division of M&B Group, is your trusted local ready-mix supplier for residential and commercial projects. Dubrook provides a full line of decorative concrete, as well as concrete supplies, along with a variety of concrete tools and accessories. Dubrook can provide services large or small for residential and commercial projects to contractors or homeowners. Dubrook is here to provide you with options and ideas to make planning your next project simple. Let Dubrook help you with the supplies you need to get the job done. Dubrook is proud to support our local communities with plants in Clarion, Du Bois, St. Mary's, Butler, Evans City, Bradford, and Meadville. Call 1-844-382-7665.
Hey Julie, nice deck! Did you get that at Tio Nesta Builder Supply?
It's Tia Nesta Builder Supply, and yes, Dave, I did.
Wonder if they sell siding and roofing at Tio Nesta Builder Supply.
It's Tia Nesta, and yes, Tia Nesta Builder Supply has that too. Come on, Dave, you've never been there? They have 2 showrooms for anything home improvement. Mom got a custom kitchen there. Bill down the street got the materials for his garage. They have this awesome website, www.tianestabuilders.us. You can buy online. They really have everything for the home.
Wow, I'm heading over to Tio Nesta. I know. Tia Nesta Builders.
Tia Nesta Builders Supply Home Improvement Center, family owned and operated since 1958, with locations in Tia Nesta and Shippenville.
That sounds good. I'll check them out online at tianestabuilders.us.
You can afford a gorgeous, custom-designed hardwood Kale's Kitchen for a lot less than you'd pay at a DIY store. Go to FactoryDirectKitchens.net. At Kale's, there are never middleman markups or hidden charges that can add 40%. Go to FactoryDirectKitchens.net. That's FactoryDirectKitchens.net.
No matter how cold it is outside, you can keep warm and toasty inside with a built-in-the-USA super-efficient furnace from Luton's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Affordable, quiet, and reliable. You can count on your furnace from Luton's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Throughout West Central Pennsylvania, people are losing their glasses. Well, they haven't really lost them. They just don't need them anymore. Thanks to the amazing LASIK surgeons at Laurel Eye Clinic. Call Laurel Eye Clinic and schedule your free consultation.
Hi, my name is Jason and welcome to Sweet Basil. Come on in.
And welcome back to the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show, here live from the Haskell House in downtown Clarion. And this had a bunch of police and all kinds of stuff. I was worried they were coming after Nico, but they went the other way. So we're safe tonight on that one. Coach Hibell, one of the things I always like to talk with coaches about too is how you're held under a microscope sometimes. You know, you had a tough game against North Star to finish the season. Sometimes people will question, oh, why did they make that move? Or why did they take that pitcher out then? Or why didn't they do this? You know, I'm sure you've had your share of people question some of the different decisions you've made. You know, what's it like having to deal with some of that? And how have you handled it over the years as far as that goes?
It's probably actually easier in baseball than some other sports because I don't call plays. There are less people at baseball games than there are at basketball games and stuff. You know, most of the only things they can really question out of a coach is maybe personnel decisions. I've never heard anything major. You hear it once in a while from the back, but you know, as a coach and as your assistant coaches, you work together to come up with the best plan to make sure that the team's going to have the most success that they can have. And we're there every day. We see all the stuff that happens in practice. But you know, anything with sports, if you're a kid playing right field and batting ninth, you're going to be held under a microscope. And as an adult that understands that there's going to be some stuff said about you, you just got to have thick skin and move on. But like I said, I would imagine football and basketball probably get it more than anybody. But it's something that, you know, it's kind of just being a guy with thick skin and worrying about what's going on inside your dugout or inside your team, and that's it.
One thing too, and you mentioned about your assistant coaches supporting staff. Why don't we address that? I'm sure you've had some really great people over the years help you out on your staff. Would you like to mention any of those folks that have been part of your coaching staff that have been a part of these great championships?
Ironically, I got their dads. I have Owen and Mason's dad, Alan, who really took care of the outfielders, which I'm sure there was days where Owen and Mason wished Alan wasn't there because they were both outfielders and he helped with the outfielders more than anything. So he was a huge help for us. Just a high energy coach that was really well liked, especially probably least liked by Owen and Mason, but well liked by everybody else. And then also Breckin's dad, Mac, really kind of came in and took over a lot of the stuff we did with hitting over the past couple of years, and we kind of just got out of his way and let him do a lot of the hitting stuff. Both those guys had work schedules that didn't allow them to be there at all the practices, but they pretty much made all the games. But my first assistant for the last 3 years was Ty Carrier's dad, Brady, who I can't say enough positive things about. He's been at everything, a huge help. And it's kind of different maybe having 3 dads as the assistant coaches compared to some other teams. Can't say this about Breckin's dad and Owen and Mason's dad, but I don't know that Brady said 10 words to Ty over the past 4 years. He never said anything to him. He stayed out of his way. He kind of let Ty go do his own thing and let the other coaches take care of Ty. So it was an interesting relationship to watch 3 assistant coaches that were all dads with kids on the teams. Just trying to see how they all interacted. We came up with nicknames for them all. Alan's first name is Richard. Everybody calls him Rich. So like it was fun. I can't thank them enough. Our program definitely was better the day those 3 guys started helping out.
Was it tough playing underneath Dad, having Dad there for you guys?
Sometimes it was worse than others.
Yeah. Would he bring stuff home and say while you were having dinner after and be like, let something go, or were he pretty good to leave baseball and then come home and move on?
Yeah, he was pretty good at that.
All right. Same with you, Breckin.
There's moments here and there, but you know, he's my dad, so I love him. So.
Yep.
There was a practice where Owen's hitting and I'm throwing batting practice, and I hear Alan in the background saying, and I hear Owen say, "Would you just let me hit, Dad?" We had some comments like that maybe some other teams without dads coaching have. So yeah, we had some tidbits here and there where maybe the father-son relationship was under a microscope those days. So, but it was interesting. It was fun. It was interesting, but it was really good.
One thing, and I brought this up with Clarion, I told you last week, with their success being a small school. Redbank's not a large school either. You're a single A school. You play double A in some of the sports, but really numbers-wise, you're not a big school. But you guys have had phenomenal success in everything, whether it's soccer and baseball and basketball, football, and track and field, and volleyball, and all of those things, whether it's boys, whether it's girls. And Redbank has kind of been on a roll here over the last several years, and I think it's one of those things that you guys, it's a feather you put in your cap, you guys are proud of, I know that. But what makes Redbank the success it is that way? I talked about success on baseball, but as a school, to be that successful in a small school in so many different sports, why? What's the secret down there?
I'd like to turn this one over to them. Obviously, I'm only involved with one sport. I did help with football for a number of years, but these are the guys winning everything. They're the ones that get to see everything. I just see it for 3 months out of the year. They see it for 12.
I think one of the biggest thing is like we've played with each other since we were childs, so like just growing together like as a team through all sports just helped a lot too.
It's a lot off the field too. We do a lot of stuff together, so like when we're on the field, it's just another thing we're doing together and having fun with it.
Yeah, I think most of our coaches all our life have been our parents, so like all of us have been coached really well, and even since we were younger, we've been disciplined and just been coached really well up through.
Do you guys push each other at school? I mean, do the girls come into school and go, we want a championship there? Are you guys going to step up, or is there anything like that where during the school day too, you're still kind of pushing each other and competing?
I just think it's like we won one, so why not go win another one?
Okay.
So it's just kind of like keep it going. So.
Because I know your older sister too, with with Mason and Owen, very successful too with basketball and stuff. So that's been their track as well. I know she won some championships as well. So it's just one of those things you don't often see. And I have people, because I teach outside of this area, and they always ask me, they're like, Redbank Valley, are they really that good? And I'm like, yeah, they're really that good. And I think you guys woke up some people. I don't think they realized when you, and I'll go to football for this one, when you played Cambridge Springs up in Meanville, and I had a couple of my students, we don't have a football team where I'm at, but they played at Lakeview High School. And when Lakeview lost to Cambridge Springs, they came into class and they're like, oh, I don't know about Redbank's going to have a tough time against Cambridge Springs. They're really good. And I said, well, we'll wait and see. Well, when I went back in on Monday after the game that you were so successful in, they were just like, wow, Redbank must really be good. I said, yeah. I said, I told you they are. So, those are things like outside until you see you guys, I think people are like, oh, come on. But I think you really impressed a lot of people, not just in one sport, but all of your multiple sports, and something to be proud of, I think.
Yeah, and they proved that they could do it outside this area with winning as much as they have at the state level over the past few years. I mean, obviously with football, they've won. They beat Cambridge Springs this year. They made it to the state championship game. Won another game against Northern Bedford the year prior to that. Baseball, we've won 3 state playoff games over the past 3 years. Basketball, you won 2 this year. So, I mean, it's not like they're just beating up on local schools around here. And kudos to the local schools. The local schools around the KSAC and District 9 have been doing well too at the state level. Some of that might speak to the 6A compared to the old 4A system. But I feel like Redbank's definitely made a name for themselves outside of just Clarion County anymore.
Yep, I would agree with that, and I certainly hear it all the time. One thing I wanted to mention too, Owen, we had talked, sitting back at the table, you're kind of unique because you have 5 championships in a row in the 5 sports you played in. Going back to baseball last year, D9 championships in baseball, and then of course in soccer, and then football, basketball, and then back in baseball. It was interesting how, and I was reading a story Mike Kilroy did a few years ago on you, and one of the reasons why you jumped into soccer was you had several concussions and it kept you from playing some football. Of course, you came back and became a kicker on the team. But how big was that as far as like a change? You know what, we're going to actually hold on to that thought because I want you to talk about that. But we're going to come back in a few minutes here and talk about, how that changed your outlook because you were cruising along, you had these concussions, and now you had to focus on a different sport, but you found great success at that sport as well. So we'll talk about that. We're going to take a time out. It is the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show, and it's live right here from the Haskell House in downtown Clarion.
Hey Julie, nice deck. Did you get that at Tio Nesta Builder Supply?
It's Tio Nesta Builder Supply. And yes, Dave, I did.
Wonder if they sell siding and roofing at Tio Nesta Builder Supply.
It's Tio Nesta. And yes, Tio Nesta Builder Supply has that too. Come on, Dave. You've never been there? They have 2 showrooms for anything home improvement. Mom got a custom kitchen there. Bill down the street got the materials for his garage. They have this awesome website, www.tionestabuilders.us. You can buy online. They really have everything for the home.
Wow, I'm heading over to Tio Nesta. I know. Tio Nesta Builders.
Tio Nesta Builder Supply Home Improvement Center, family owned and operated since 1958, with locations in Tio Nesta and Shippenville.
That sounds good. I'll check them out online at tionestabuilders.us.
Clarion Forest VNA believes the emotional and physical well-being of a patient is enhanced by the patient receiving care in the familiar surroundings of home. Their staff of caring professionals work closely with physicians to administer quality care to meet the needs of each individual. As a pioneer in home health care in Clarion and Forest County, Clarion Forest VNA continue to grow to meet the community's need for in-home care, offering many different services and programs to meet the patient's need. Clarion Forest VNA, located at 271 Perkins Road in Clarion. Call us toll-free at 1-800-262-2118.
Throughout West Central Pennsylvania, people are losing their glasses. Well, they haven't really lost them. They just don't need them anymore. Thanks to the amazing LASIK surgeons at Laurel Eye Clinic. Call Laurel Eye Clinic and schedule your free consultation.
Welcome to 12 Series, a veteran-owned and operated company. Want to stand out amongst the crowd? This is the brand for you. They have apparel that ranges from cardio tanks and hoodies to sweat noggin covers. The apparel isn't just designed for the gym, it's designed for everyday life. Whether at work, the range, or at a family outing, 12 Series will turn heads. Find and like 12 Series on Facebook and Instagram.
Hi, my name is Jason, and welcome to Sweet Basil. Come on in.
You can afford a gorgeous, custom-designed hardwood Kale's kitchen for a lot less than you'd pay at a DIY store. Go to FactoryDirectKitchens.net. At Kale's, there are never middleman markups or hidden charges that can add 40%. Go to FactoryDirectKitchens.net. That's FactoryDirectKitchens.net.
Protect your home or business from all those sneaky pests. Give Hugh Henry's Pest Management a call at 814-316-1875 or check them out online at bugguy.com. Pest Management, where nature and technology meet.
And welcome back to the Haskell House, Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show. And I'm Mike Kalinowski, your host tonight. And we're talking to players with the Redbank Valley baseball team this evening, and these guys have been involved in sports all over the place. And I left you with the thought, I was talking to Owen, just to kind of single him out here for a second. You went through a series where you had some concussions, so you weren't able to play football, but you jumped into soccer. And, of course, succeeded highly at that, 125 goals to set a record. What was that like at the time, if you think back, knowing when you had to kind of change focus, or was soccer something that you always wanted to be a part of?
You know, it was challenging, always football being my favorite sport, so finding out I wasn't able to play that anymore, but then I was able to find soccer, and it led to success, and then eventually, you know, Mason was playing football, and he kind of steered me back into football to kicking, and it just was successful.
Yeah, he's your holder, isn't he? So any time that you would ever miss or have a bad snap or something, you could always kind of blame it on him, which was nice. But yeah, it's just interesting because, you know, for you to kind of change like that and be as successful as you were, but then you came back and as a kicker, one of the best kickers in the league, and that also was quite impressive. So, you know, those are things I wanted to mention, that, you know, you kind of had a little change there, and you never know how you're going to react, but you certainly did well.
And I believe when he came back, he was an all-conference outside linebacker as well, too, right? And punter, so
Yeah.
all-state. Okay, I'm shortchanged there. So it's not like he just went out and kicked after they scored. He was a major part of their defense.
Yeah.
I know Coach Gould talked highly of him all fall about how important he was to their defense this year. So.
Sure. And you haven't had any more issues and things like that as far as concussion-wise. And I know they've come a long way that way. So, but talking to you guys a little bit, first of all, I always go back, and we're talking about baseball. Have you always played baseball? We'll just kind of go down the line. We'll start down at the end with Mason. We'll work back and we'll get those guys involved. How long have you been playing baseball? And
I've played it my whole life. My dad played in college, so it's just been something I've played my whole life. And I played travel ball up until 2 years ago, so I've always been a part of it.
What positions have you played over the years?
Pretty much just pitcher and outfield.
Outfield.
I've played my whole life. I've played travel with actually kids around this area when I was younger, but yeah, travel ball, and I've played infield about the whole life, but I caught this year for high school.
Okay.
So.
How'd you like that? That was a little bit different.
Yeah, it was something, but anything to help the team win, and that's what I had to do. So.
Sure. Okay.
Same thing as Mason. You know, ever since we could stand, we had a baseball and a ball in our hands. So till now, I've always been playing.
If you would say, well, I should ask you too, I guess, Coach, right? How long have you been playing baseball?
Well, I'm 34, I guess, every year since I've been, ever since I've probably been 5. So I was fortunate enough to play in college, so I never even had that hiatus between high school and coaching high school.
Yep.
So I guess 29 straight springs.
Where'd you play in college?
IUP.
Okay, very good. Baseball, your favorite sport? What's your favorite sport, if you would say, if you would look at all of them? Owen?
Probably baseball.
Okay. Why?
It's just, I've always had a connection with my dad and Mason, so it's just been the connection, which, I don't know, it's just always been my favorite sport.
That makes sense.
I would definitely say baseball is my favorite sport, but like playing basketball, it's kind of more like a relaxed atmosphere for me, but when I play baseball, it's kind of more focused and like I pay more attention than baseball.
See, that's kind of weird. I would think that basketball would be the more, you said relaxed, I think baseball would be the more relaxed, but you have that flip-flop, which, because basketball, it's much more intense, but it's probably the way you just look at the ball game.
Yeah, I've been playing baseball my whole life, but with basketball, I kind of just picked it up to have something else to do, so it's kind of just relaxing to me to have that.
That makes sense then. Yes.
It used to be baseball, but I don't know, since I started playing football, football is just special, I don't know. It's just putting those pads on and hitting people, it's just fun.
Yeah. Well, and it's certainly, you know, too, you guys have had a lot of success at it, so it had to be a lot of fun then, in all of the things that you've done. Gentlemen, you played for Coach Hibell. What's it like to play for Coach? Like, what are some things you can tell us about him? Maybe some funny things or anything like that, but what's it like to play for this fella here, Coach Hibell?
Well, he's been one of the best coaches in high school throughout my whole career. And what makes him special is he's not like, he won't yell at you, or like, if you do something bad, he won't yell at you. He'll like encourage you. You can, like, you got it the next time. But then when there's time to focus, he focuses in, and when time to be funny, pretty funny.
It's just helped me a lot through the way from playing my freshman year, and him believing in me my freshman year to help to get to this point now. And he's very relaxed, which that helps with the atmosphere and the team and just having fun, but definitely focuses up when it's time to focus.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever met a funnier guy than Mr. Hibell. Every time we walk in the weight room, there's always a joke or something, but he's a great coach. He always helps us out, and he makes us have fun while doing it.
It's funny that they say about not yelling. We had a few moments this year, not directed at these three as individuals, but when we were at our low spot this year, we had some emotional moments as far as negative emotions go. But I'll give credit to these guys as leaders, and give credit to the younger guys that kind of bounce back from from some of the yelling that we ended up having to go on a hot streak to win the district.
Think about the season, and you guys that are seniors, you're a junior. But looking back over the seasons in baseball, because that's what we're talking about here right now, what were some of the more unique moments? Is there any funny moments or moments that just kind of stand out for you over the years that you played? And you can all answer that. There was something that, unique, funny, maybe just something that was important, stood out, really meaningful to you.
I think one of the funnest games I ever had was when we played Sierra Catholic, and just beating the Whippio champs who were undefeated. That was probably one of the greatest games I've ever played of.
I'm sure they weren't happy.
No.
No, we've got some pretty iconic photos after that game of some unhappy Sierra Catholic kids, and a great picture of Owen after he slid in home, turning around yelling at the dugout before he even gets up. So some of those pictures stick out into my mind because that game was so intense and had so much stress and anxiety that went along with it. I don't even know if I remember most of it.
I don't really have much. It was just like everything's pretty much fun and good memories. But
he says he doesn't have much, but he had the game-winning hit to win a district this year. So if he needs help remembering that,
Well,
I know it was
yeah.
only a couple weeks ago, but I don't know how many views there are on YouTube of that game, but I'm going to guess I'm about 35 of them.
I was going to say, but he was relaxed. So that's what he said. Baseball relaxed him. So he just, he didn't remember all of that.
well, I had a chance to take the lead earlier in the game, and I didn't do that. So
His dad reminded him of that.
I had to get one. So.
Yeah, dads don't forget.
Yeah.
I remember my freshman year. If you remember Kobe Bonanno, he I think he was playing really bad that game, and we were playing at Pullman Park, and he told someone to go back to the cages, and he was just swinging as hard as he can, and he went up the bat next and sent one probably 400 feet.
That was one of the farthest home runs I've ever seen a high school kid hit against AC Valley over at Pullman Park. It would have been your freshman year?
It was over the 425 feet fence.
Yeah, he got all of it.
Was there a particular player you guys would go to for like comic relief? Did someone kind of keep you guys loose? Does anyone stand out that way, or was there maybe someone that you always had to be like continue to have to get focused, but did someone stand out as like someone that maybe was the more jokester of the crew? I don't know if it was one of you guys or.
There's definitely been some characters throughout the years.
Yeah, there's been a couple people I've looked up to that helped us through the way.
Who would that be?
Probably like Bryson Bain or Tate. Yeah, just the people like that who've helped us be in the position we are today to be successful.
Anyone else?
I mean, I can just think Tate and Bryson, even last year and the years before, there'd be so many times where we would go hit in the cage by ourselves or just like work on ourselves.
Yeah, Tate and Bryson were great leaders for us over the past couple of years. It helped build the program that we have now. Comic relief, who? Jeff Douglas, which I'm sure a lot of people that read articles don't know who Jeff Douglas is. Jeff was a funny kid. I look at Colton Bartley from a few years ago, who played his senior year only. Was a joy to have. We've definitely had some funny kids over the past few years.
Yeah, sometimes you have that one player that just kind of, even in serious situations, can keep you a little bit loose, where, kind of get you back to reality and things like that. I was going to say, what was it like to coach Nico, but I don't want to take you down
I don't want to talk about that on air.
Now, future plans. We'll start with Owen. What do you
I'm going to IUP to major in accounting.
Okay. Sports?
Nope. Probably like intramural sports and stuff.
Okay. I was going to say, because I've done PSAC football now for 36 years, and I'm surprised that they didn't kind of look at you and go, yeah, we can always use a kicker. And so.
Yeah, might try to walk on somewhere, not sure.
Sure. Okay.
I'm sure he could run some fake field goals.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And what did you say? You said your major was?
Accounting.
Accounting. Very good. You're a junior, so you still have some time, but what are you thinking about?
I think I'm definitely going to go to college and maybe like education or something like that. I think I want to play sports, but if that doesn't happen, it doesn't happen.
Okay. Do you know where you'd like to go?
I don't know yet. Just trying to figure out the options and see how that goes.
Well, you still have time, but your senior year's coming. You got to get moving.
Yep.
I have juniors, so I tell them, I'm like, by the time you come back, you better have an idea what you're doing. So, yes, sir, Mason.
I'm going to Grove City to play football, and my degree is going to be mechanical engineering.
Oh, wow. You're going to be busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Grove City, I'll tell you what, you guys have had a lot of players go over there and have some success, so it'll be interesting. So you get to meet up with some of your old
yeah, they'll be
playmates.
seniors this year.
That's unbelievable. Yeah. And that Grove City program has had a lot of success.
Yeah.
So something that is going to be a challenge, I'm sure, when you get over there too.
Sure.
So, have they talked about position where you might be playing or anything?
I'll probably be playing defense, probably corner or safety.
Okay, very good. All right, that's all I have for this week, and want to thank you guys for coming in. Wish you the best of luck in the future. Hope you're successful. Same coach. I know next year will be coming around again, and you'll be getting ready to go for another district title. And well, you've had a lot of success, and I just wish you the very, very best.
All right, thank you.
All right, that'll wrap things up for us here from the Haskell House. This is the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show here from the Haskell House. Folks, you have a great night, have a great week, and we'll see you next time.